Hey, welcome back. This is Tim with the University of Vinyl. I want to do something, a continuation of a series I've been doing all year long. It's kind of stalled out recently, but I'm back today to talk about another crown jewel in my collection. Crown jewel. They are 50 of the best sounding records in my collection according to my ears, according to my setup. Your mileage may vary, but all of these records that I'm featuring, they just kind of reaffirm the links that we will go to build a stereo system, a setup, and hopefully reap the benefits, finding something that was pressed well at a good pressing plant, mastered well, mixed well, engineered well, recorded well. And when everything adds up, we get audio bliss. That's what this series is about. I want to focus today on a 1979 iconic album, the third album from The Clash. Of course, we're going to be talking about London Calling. I just picked up a original 1979 UK pressing. Of course, it has Tim Tom in the dead wax on various sides. Side 4 says there's an etching. Track 5 is Train in Vain. I saw this in a shop in Las Vegas. I was in Vegas over the weekend. More on that in an upcoming episode. And I was concerned when I saw this press or this copy. The sleeve has seen better days. And it only had one of the original inner sleeves, which is right here. Kind of well loved. But, you know, surprisingly, both of the records, this was a double album, of course, I'm going to say they're in borderline VG to VG plus condition. A couple of the sides had a few more hairlines and surface kind of storage wear than others. But you can see that there is that kind of iconic. How many times, it's going to be a new drinking name. How many times can I say iconic in one video? That white label, the CBS, and then Made in England is at the very bottom. And plenty of luster, plenty of life still in these grooves. I can confirm that fact because we had an early flight home on Sunday morning, very early, and I was basically a vegetable for Sunday afternoon, but managed to put this on the turntable, and it perked me up, let's just say that. I have... previous to finding this record, I have one of the, remastered reissue copies that dates back to like 2013. And in doing a little bit of research on this video, I did listen to this again in direct contrast to that UK pressing. Night and day, folks. If you don't have, here's today's assignment. If you love this record and you don't have an original UK pressing, by all means, beg Robin Steele to find one in decent condition. A little bit of lead-in surface noise is not going to really be the end of the world when the music kicks in, and the music on this double album is glorious, of course. Particularly, a couple tracks really kind of brought this whole thing into the full picture for me as far as, wow, the reputation is right. The Tim Young original pressing issued in the UK is fantastic. Guns of Brixton and Lovers Rock. Lovers Rock, of course, is on side 4, the second record. Lovers Rock, there is a very cool rhythm guitar pattern that is being imaged back and forth between the left and right channel. And it's just glorious to listen to. There are also, if you know that song, some really cool percussive sound effects. I don't know what that instrument is where they're getting kind of the rattle noise, but that's kind of pinging and ponging throughout that track as well. It's just really kind of reaffirms why we go to the great lengths to build a very nice stereo system. And you know, when things come together, be it a great recording, well engineered, well mixed, well mastered, and finally pressed well, everything then kind of comes full circle for us as audiophiles that we may or may not, you know, hold our hand up and admit, yeah, I think I'm an audiophile. So anyway, this record, you know, there is a Chris Bellman version that I have not heard that is supposed to be very, very good. Don't know if it's all analog or not. This one has WG in the dead wax, which stands for Wes Garland. You know, no foul on Wes Garland, but it is, like I said, night and day between this remastered pressing and that original UK pressing. This UK pressing, it has just a great amount of heft to it. There is a slam, there is a drive, there is a full bass response. There is no sibilance or anything of that nature. It is a well-balanced bottom end, mids, highs. It just sounds amazing. And then there is a lot of that imaging going on and some panning as well. And a very nice sound stage. This is a very pleasing listen, dare I say, you know, for a... You know, were these first records from the Clash classed as punk albums? It was definitely a revolution coming on, but dare I say the Clash had a lot more nuance and talent than a couple of those other iconic punk albums that you may have heard of that came out around this time. This is a kind of a special record because it came out at the end of 1980. I was a freshman in high school. I heard this record and songs from the record throughout high school. Later on, when I got into CDs and had some money of my own to build I thought I was the king of the block because I had gone out in my early 20s and had acquired the Bose Acoustimass system with the satellite cube speakers, and I had a Philips CD player, and I remember that I had London Calling. I think I had Sandinista as well, and I just, you know, these songs are just so kind of burnished in your memory. And then, you know, a few years ago, coming up on 5 years ago, believe it or not, my wife and I were in London in the fall of 2019, and the City of London Museum were putting on an exhibit all about London Calling and the Clash. They were celebrating 40 years of the record, as it was back in we were there in November of 2019, and I think that exhibit ran all the way into, maybe it was curtailed by the pandemic, but it was supposed to run until the spring of 2020. That was very cool because they had Joe Zimmerman's bass here that is pictured on the cover. And if you look at the back cover, that iconic drink, that iconic photograph, of course, was taken in New York at the Palladium, September 21st, 1979. They most likely previewed most of London Calling during that gig. And there's that iconic photograph. Of course, they also put together this cover in mind, looking back to the famous Elvis Presley cover from, the mid to late 1950s. And there you have it. you owe it to yourself if you are a fan of this record. It is a glorious sounding record. So much variety in the different musical styles, and just an arrogance, a confidence with this record, and with the band at that point in time as they stood in 1980. Things were good. Things had not imploded with the Clash yet at that point in time. So, The Crown Jewels, London Calling, UK 1979, CBS is what you want, in my humble opinion. Hope to be back later in the week with something new and different. Stay tuned, everybody.